spokeswoman representing the St. Louis Police Department is outraged that members of the St. Louis Rams had the audacity to protest the Ferguson grand jury decision. Now, the members of the NFL team actually did a hands up, don't shoot protest. And, it got some media coverage, but now it's getting a lot more media coverage because St. Louis police officials are very, very angry that they did this. Now, the SLPAOA is calling for the players involved to be disciplined and for the Rams and the NFL to deliver a very public apology. In fact, one of the business managers for the union says the following: "I know that there are those that will say that these players are simply exercising their First Amendment rights. Well, I've got news for people who think that way. Cops have First Amendment rights too, and we plan to exercise ours." You guys get the gist of it. They're not liking it.
Well, here's my question. What does it mean when he says, "I have news for you, we have First Amendment rights too"? What is he threatening? What is he talking about?
I don't think people understand what the First Amendment means,
Yeah.
okay? So the First Amendment means that the government can't come after you for your expression, okay? So if these protesters or if the members of the NFL are doing this protest and the government goes after them, well, that's a violation of their First Amendment right.
Right.
Now, can the NFL suspend them, fire them for doing this? Sure, especially if they have a policy in place banning political speech. But the government is the one that can't do this.
Right.
In this case, yes, you as a police official also have First Amendment rights. You can say that you object to this, you're offended by this. You're allowed to be offended, right?
Sure.
But you shouldn't pressure the NFL to fire or suspend or force a public apology because you're offended, right? But look, they can ask for the apology, and if they don't get it, sorry, that's that.
Yeah, and how is that helping public relations by going after the NFL team and going, wait, now we're mad at you, now we want an apology from you, oppress. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It's just bad business on the police department's behalf.
Especially when you consider the fact that there were police officials that were trying to squash any type of protest after the grand jury verdict. Were there looters? Were there violent people? Yes, right? Were there peaceful protesters that were provoked? Yes. And so when you are already dealing with that negative PR and then you very publicly make a statement against these players protesting, well, then you continue to look bad. This is their form of expression. They don't agree with the grand jury verdict. They don't agree with police brutality. They don't agree with the excessive force that's been demonstrated in case by case throughout the country. Don't make a public disaster out of yourself by telling them that you're offended and you demand a public apology.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to for them. I think it's a PR disaster, and that's the thing. Like these guys, these football players, they work for the NFL. So it's if the NFL has a problem with it, well, they're going to have to answer for that. But this has nothing to do with anyone outside of the NFL organization.
Yeah.
If they work for them, that's not what they're supposed to do. There's like you said, they can't make, whatever kind of protest. They can't do this, they can't do that. Then they're, whatever, you get suspended, you pay a fine. But what is this anybody else, what's their concern?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think that as a public figure like that, that's non-political, especially if you're an actor or an athlete, when you take a political position, you actually kind of put yourself at risk, right? Because I'm sure that there are fans of the St. Louis Rams that saw that protest and they were offended by it.
Right.
But who cares? I mean, you as an American should have the ability to express yourself, and you as an American should have the ability to be offended by what that political speech is. We live in a country where we should be able to express ourselves. I say things that offend people on a daily basis. People are allowed to be offended. I'm not going to get angry about that, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, they fine people for pulling a cell phone out of the field goal. Is that what it's called with the thing? I don't know. I'm an asshole. I'm a girl. I don't know football. Or they like dance excessively or whatever, and they get fined for that. So, this doesn't seem like a particularly crazy gesture, but if they wanted to do it, I'm glad that they did it. And like you said, they're not politicians. So for them to feel as strongly as they felt about this, knowing that it could bring heat on them, hey man, I'm actually kind of impressed.
So far, officials have said that they're not going to take any actions against the NFL players. That's including the NFL and owners for the Rams.
Right.
So I think that's good news. Let's all let it rest, okay? This is their political speech. Let's move on.